Hey folks, and welcome to Dice by the Sword, a Dungeons & Dragons actual play podcast where storytelling takes center stage and every role can change everything. I'm Dan, your Dungeon Master and the slightly overwhelmed Ringmaster of this chaotic but heartfelt and often hilarious crew of adventurers. Our story is set in the world of Nyxalia, a world unlike any other, a realm of floating sky islands drifting amongst the clouds, held aloft by ancient magic and aether crystals. It's a place of wonder and danger, where skyships rule the skies, lost civilizations whisper from forgotten ruins, and the shadows of power stretch farther than anyone dares to admit. Now, if this is your first time tuning in, you're in the right place. This episode is what we're going to be calling our jumping off point. Why? Well, when we began streaming our Nyxalia campaign, we were still finding our rhythm, testing audio setups, balancing mics, that sort of thing. And the first 3 episodes of the campaign were packed with great moments and important plot threads, but the audio quality just didn't meet the bar that we've set for this podcast release. And honestly, you deserve better than crackly dialogue and muffled battle cries. So, instead of putting out those rough episodes, we've created this. A recap-style episode designed to catch you up on all the key characters, events, and choices from the opening chapters of our campaign. Think of this as your fast-track ticket to the story. We'll introduce you to the party, a cast of unique heroes, each with their own motivations, secrets, and questionable impulse control. We'll walk you through what's already happened, the strange events in the town of Whistlestone, the rise of the Ironshade Consortium, the looming threats in the skies, and mysteries that still are waiting to be uncovered. And then, starting with episode 4, you'll be jumping into the full episodes alongside everyone else. Now with far better quality, in terms of audio aspect, that is. And all the chaos you'd expect from a group of people trying to solve problems with spells, sharp sticks, and wildly inconsistent decision-making. So whether you're brand new to Dice by the Sword, catching up in podcast form, or just coming back for a second ride through the Skies of Nyxalia, we are so glad to have you here. So strap in and prepare for adventure. Let's get into it. Over 1,000 years ago, the gods waged a war so catastrophic it shattered the very fabric of the world. The Sundering, as it came to be known, was a divine conflict so fierce that the earth itself broke apart. Great landmasses were ripped from the surface and carried into the skies by unimaginable magical forces. Now, the fractured world of Nyxalia drifts amongst the heavens, its floating isles tethered together in the sky by shimmering ley lines of ancient power. In the wake of the Sundering, the survivors clung to what remained, forging lives in isolated sky-bound communities. For centuries, the world was harsh, divided by scarcity, distance, and the scars of divine warfare. The gods who once walked amongst mortals vanished after the cataclysm. Their temples fell silent, their names fading into legend. But everything changed around 40 to 50 years ago. Glowing shards of divine origin, the aether crystals, were discovered. Brimming with arcane energy, these crystals could not only keep the islands aloft, but also power machines beyond imagination. So, inventors, scholars, and artificers rushed to unlock their potential. From their work, a new technology was born: airships. Massive vessels capable of sailing the skies redefined life across Nyxalia. Long-forgotten lands were reconnected, trade flourished, empires rose, and with them came the dawn of a new era, the Age of Aether. Airship commerce reshaped the geopolitical map. Kingdoms expanded, alliances fractured, and once quiet isles transformed into booming ports of trade and innovation. But prosperity came at a cost. As the demand for aether crystals surged, so too did greed. Massive mining operations began to tear the isles apart, their depths hollowed for every last shimmering shard. To those in power, aether crystals became the heartbeat of progress. But for those beneath them, miners, workers, displaced communities, they were a curse. Across the skies, rebellion brews. Pirate crews raid trade routes. Saboteurs strike mines. The floating world has become a battleground. And as power is hoarded and exploited, whispers grow louder of imbalance in the ley lines, of drifting isles faltering in the skies, and of long-forgotten gods stirring in the dark. Some now claim the Aether Crystals are not just relics, but conduits of divine power, power that was never meant to be wielded by mortal hands. Among many of the floating isles of Nyxalia is Soltharan, a land of staggering beauty and bitter conflict, and at its heart stands Zenithal, a sprawling metropolis perched on shimmering cliffs known as the Free City. Zenithal is a beacon of innovation and ambition, and its skyline bristles with arcane towers, industrial forges, and airship docks that never sleep. Here inventors thrive, and fortunes rise overnight, but beneath the city's gleaming surface lies unrest. You see, Zenithal's prosperity is built on the backs of the exploited. Indentured workers labour beneath the chimneys, while powerful guild lords, council members, merchants, and industrial magnates sit in comfort, almost untouchable. To the north of Soltharan, high amongst the jagged Ironcrest Mountains, lie the dwarven halls of Steel Peak, ancient strongholds carved into deep stone. Renowned for their masterful engineering, the dwarves of Steel Peak supply much of Nyxalia's airship components and aether engines. They are respected, but increasingly drawn into the hunger for resources. To the south sprawls the verdant Stormward province, where nature and progress strive to coexist. Villages are built into colossal trees, and aether technology is woven into the land with care. People here are fierce defenders of the ley lines, viewing them as sacred. They stand opposed to overmining and exploitation, a stance that has brought them into open conflict with both Zenithal and Steel Peak, as well as the mercenaries hired by the guild lords to enforce their will. And at the heart of that conflict lies a place few speak of without dread: Blackfall Quarry. And it is no ordinary mining site. It is a wound upon the world, a deep, jagged scar carved into the mountains of Soltharan. Its walls pulse with veins of glowing aether, casting eerie light that dances across smoke-choked air and endless scaffolding. The roar of machinery never stops. The stench of oil, sweat, and despair clings to every breath. Labourers here move like ghosts, hauling ore along creaking wooden walkways and descending into narrow tunnels that tremble with every strike of a pickaxe. Accidents are common and mercy is rare. Overseeing it all is Varric Bloodscale, a crimson-scale dragonborn whose name is spoken in hushed curses. Ruthless and efficient, he commands the quarry like a tyrant. Mercenaries patrol the perimeter, armed and watchful, and escape is unthinkable. And hope is dangerous here. Meals are meager, rest is brief, punishment is swift, and yet whispers stir in the dark. Rumours of resistance, of plans, of something bigger than survival. Our group of adventurers are amongst these labourers, whether by misfortune, imprisonment, or a past you'd rather not speak of. And this is where our story truly begins, but even in the depths of this despair, change is possible. Fate is stirring. The chains of Blackfall Quarry were meant to hold them forever. The back-breaking labour, the cruel overseers, the ever-watchful eyes of Varric Bloodscale, it was a prison disguised as a work camp. A place where hope crumbled like dust in the tunnels, but not for our adventurers. The cold, oppressive air of Blackfall still lingers in their memory, the ring of pickaxes, the barked orders, the blank stares of broken spirits, but Last night, everything changed. Led by the wounded but defiant Caelan Thorne, they set a desperate plan in motion. A tunnel collapse, a moment of chaos, and a brutal fight in the dark. Steel clashed, blood was spilled, and when the dust settled, the guards who were watching them were dead. The first steps toward freedom had been taken. But escaping the quarry was only the beginning. Beyond the wreckage, deep within the mountain's heart, they discovered something ancient. A hidden cave alive with raw, untamed magic. Aether crystals jutted from the walls, their glow casting eerie light across the stone. It was breathtaking, but equally dangerous because they were not alone. Something moved in the dark, claws scraped against rock, the soft shuffle of feet, a predator's slow, circling rhythm. And then a flash of yellow eyes, the glint of fangs, and a low, guttural growl. They were being hunted. But before we go any further, it's probably worth introducing the people at the heart of this story. The ones fighting tooth and nail for freedom in the shadows of Blackfall Quarry. There's Nim, a quiet soul with a sharp mind and a touch of something strange. She's been hearing whispers lately, not from prisoners, but from something else. Then we have Coric, a gnome artificer with soot on his cheeks and 1,000 ideas sparking behind his brilliant eyes. Half of his gadgets explode, the other half work almost too well. Yeril, a winged Aarakocran cleric, is the party's anchor of sorts. Calm, focused, and unwavering in their pursuit of justice, and their pursuit to help anyone that needs it. Peanut brings the music and most of the chaos, if I'm being honest. She is a halfling bard with a big heart, a silver tongue, and absolutely no sense of self-preservation. Then we have Ulrich, a Goliath barbarian who says little but hits very hard. He's haunted by a past he doesn't talk about at first, but when the chains fall, he is the first one that runs towards danger. And finally we have Octavius, sharp-eyed rogue with quick hands and a quicker wit, and the kind of past that gets whispered about in taverns, or so he likes to think. Together, they're not just a band of fugitives, they are sparking something greater. Now, where were we? Ah yes, from the shadows they came. Sleek, obsidian-skinned predators with claws like daggers and eyes like burning embers. Cave stalkers, drawn to the hum of Aether, launched from the darkness with terrifying speed. Their forms blurred through crystalline glow, slipping between shadows, always just out of reach. Separated, surrounded, and still reeling from their escape, the adventurers fought tooth and nail to survive. Claws met steel, magic sparked against stone, and beneath it all, the weight of their chains, freshly broken, drove them forward. When the dust settled and the creatures lay dead, their strange, shimmering hides twitching in the low light. Among the blood and the broken stone, the party gathered the remnants, glowing aether shards and pieces of the stalker's hide to make armor, small treasures from a hard-won victory, but it were not without cost. As in the wreckage, the body of Caelan Thorne lay lifeless. There was no way back, and the quarry behind them, they pressed deeper into the mountain's winding veins. The tunnels narrowed, rough and untouched, lit only by the occasional crystal pulse or flicker of natural light. Dripping water echoed through the silence, and the air grew colder but cleaner. And then daylight. After hours in the dark, the tunnel opened up to the sky. A towering arch of stone framing a sight none of them would ever forget. The world of Nyxalia, in all its fractured beauty, stretched out before them. Smoke curled from chimneys, Far off in the distance, where they saw it, Whistlestone. A modest settlement alive with motion and promise, the first sign of civilization that they'd seen in weeks or months. And at its edge, a lone watchtower stood sentinel, unaware of the figures emerging from the mountainside behind them. They were free, but the world ahead was far from safe. They emerged into the open air of Stormward Province, where the sky stretched wide and endless above them. The scent of damp earth and fresh grass filled their lungs, rolling hills unfolded in every direction, golden fields, winding dirt roads, and far on the horizon their new destination, Whistlestone. But the road was not without its oddities, as along the way they stumbled across Aldous Winthrop, an eccentric old man with a rickety cart and a mule that had clearly retired mid-journey. His belongings were scattered across the path, and his rambling gratitude knew no bounds. The party helped him on his way, their first glimpses at the strange and whimsical souls that call these lands home. And by nightfall they made it. They made it to Whistlestone, the modest town alive with lantern light, wood smoke, and the promise of peace. They found rest in the Broken Lantern Tavern, where food and warmth awaited. They drank, they ate, they laughed, and for a time they felt they could breathe. Now, as dawn breaks over Whistlestone, the road ahead begins to open. New dangers, new allies, new secrets to uncover. And that brings you up to speed. From the dark depths of Blackfall Quarry to the quiet promise of Whistlestone, our heroes have already faced chains, loss, and the unknown, and they've only just taken their first steps into the wider world of Nyxalia. And if you've made it this far, thank you. Whether you're a long-time follower of the stream or a brand new listener jumping in for the first time, we are so glad to have you along for the ride. This recap was your foundation, a place to get caught up, learn about the world, and meet the characters. But from here on out, you'll be riding alongside us for every decision, every discovery, and every dice roll. Episode 4 is where the story truly takes flight, with fully improved audio, in-character roleplay, and all the magic, mayhem, and emotional chaos that comes with it. So if you haven't already, hit that follow or subscribe button on your podcast platform of choice. And if you enjoy what you hear, we'd love it if you were to leave us a review or share the show with a friend. It means the world to us and helps more people discover the Skies of Nyxalia. You can find us on all social media platforms at Dice by the Sword. We post behind-the-scenes content, character art, episode updates, clips, all sorts of little extras if you want to go deeper into the world. Now, get ready, because episode 4 is up next, and our party is about to take a turn. The road ahead holds strange allies, hidden dangers, and secrets that tie into something much larger than they expected. Thank you again, and enjoy the show.